Hi everyone, very good morning. Yeah, hope you are having a good time today. Yeah. So can we start with the presentation? So I would be presenting on how the marketplace business model, which is primarily a B2C business model, can be seen as a digital retail. So why I'm saying so digital retail because so I'm basically from the fashion. I'm basically from the fashion brand. So this is more in perspective of the fashion brands how they operate. When I talk about fashion brands, all brands like Puma, Adi, Nike, Reebok, Levi's, Skechers, these all comes under the fashion brand. How they operate and what is their business model, and how these set of brands can see marketplace as a digital retail. So I'll take you through that. So first slide is on the B2C introduction. So as we all know, B2C is a business model wherein the retailers or say the selling point connect to the end consumers. Right? Same way is the case here. The B2C is the model wherein the retailer or the seller connect to the consumers. Though it's a model which started long back, started in 1979 when Mr. Michael Eldridge utilized the first B2C model through television. And since then, it has been exploded, kind of. Of lately, in India, last 3-4 years, this model is really picking up, and all the brands are moving in this direction, right? So this is the business model from the fashion brand perspective, how it's operated. So suppose if you see this chart, a brand is there, the website is there. When I mean to say website, it's Amazon, Flipkart, and all this, and then the consumers. So the orders, what we place, right, goes to the website. Website further shares the orders with the brand through B2C model, and that orders then service to the end consumer. So this is the flow of the chart, how the orders, what we place at the website, generates and service to the end consumers. Right? Suppose everyone, for example, would have seen this. If you go to any product, right, and you order that, so there would be 2 sellers or 3 sellers. The seller of the brand, right? If the brand is the seller, that is a D2C model, and where the service happens from the brand side. Cool. So that is the B2C model in e-com. So this is how the B2C business evolved in India. Though it started way back in 2010-12, the journey started in 10-12, then brands in fashion knew this as a conventional way of business. So what they used to do, they used to pump in the stocks to the brand, to the website, to the portals. They buy the stock from the brands and then they sell to the end consumers, right? So the primary channel for the brands during those days, say, even today also, it was only 3 channels were there. First is brand stores, which is EBOs, which we know as EBOs, brand exclusive stores, then departmental stores, then the distribution. So this channel B2B e-com via B2B model became as a 4th channel for the brands. And e-com was primarily used as the liquidation channel because the leftover inventories were provided there, and because the consumer demand was like that. It was a new model of retail, so the consumer demand was more into the discounted merchandise because the confidence level in this model was not that great as compared to the conventional models of retailing, which is offline stores, And hence, by virtue, because of the discounted merchandise, it became as a discounted channel since then. So if you see the key strengths in e-com and the conventional channels, the first chart on the left-hand side would show the business mix journey, right? If you see the past 5 years data, in 2017, e-com was just 7 to 8% of the brand business, right? Which is in terms of sales, consumer sales. Today, in 2022, and it would be around 22% of the brand business. And other channels, for example, for any brand, retail is like a pride channel. Retail means your exclusive stores. So that stores used to contribute around 55% to the brand business. But in today's world, because e-com has taken a share to an extent, so it is around 50% of the brand business. Right? Likewise, MBO channel, which is multi-brand outlets, so like formats like large format doors, which includes partners like Lifestyle Shoppers, Central, all this. So this comes under MBO for any brand. So this used to contribute 23%, but now it is around 18% in terms of consumer sales. Likewise, distribution, which was heavy market for any brand, right? Because distribution is something which is a cash cow for any brand because hardly any investment is required. The investment is more on the merchandise front. But this model, because of e-com being penetrated across the country, so distribution has gone down from 14 to 10. So this is how the e-com has shaped up or taken up the pie in the last 5 years, kind of. So it has grown by 3x for any brand in general. So I'm not talking about the outliers, but in brand in general, which are the sustainable brand, which runs with a lower consumer discount. So this is the chart basically for those set of brands, you know. And this is e-com, the chart on the right-hand side would be e-com business mix from the brand side. So how it shaped up in last 5 years. 17 was 8%, then 18 was 10% around. 19 was again growing at a decent pace, taking the market share. It was around 12%. But because of pandemic in 2020, it took the share of around 28%, you know, because retail stores were closed kind of, and then e-com came up as a survivor for any of the brand. They could try to liquidate their inventory during that time, and so e-com share gone up but to 28%. Then again in 21 it dropped slightly but to 26%, and 22 because all the retail stores were open starting of this year. If you know that Feb onwards all the retail stores were open, every market was open, so that consumers which were at home kind of, you know, they haven't shopped, they actually went to the market and shopped a lot. So that took some share from e-com to the offline stores. But with the help of technology, that share would again come back to e-com, and it would be around 25% in next year and then 28% year after. So this is the trend how we are seeing in the market, how the e-com share would be in coming years, right? So if you could see, e-com as a whole is contributing around 22%. In that, 65% in today's date comes from the B2B business model of e-com, you know, wherein we service the stocks to the portals, portal service stocks to the end consumers. Wherein B2C is just 30%, but it's going at a good pace. You know, we'll come in the later slides like how B2C model can be a digital retail and what inputs can be given to B2C to make it as a digital retail format. Then, yeah. No, the B2B is the merchandise what we sell to the website, and website further sells to the consumers. Though from the third eye, it would be marketplace, means because we take Amazon, Flipkart, and all this as a marketplace only, right?
Right.
But this is the business model within that marketplace.
Okay, and B2C is your own site?
Own site. Own site
Okay.
means which are serviced by the brand.
Okay, got it.
Got it? So
Thanks.
likewise, yeah. So around 25 to 28% business would be coming from B2B, from e-com in next coming years, and this is a heavy. If you see 5 years down the line, I mean back, it was only just 8% of the business. Now it is around touching around 25% plus, which is massive. So each and every brand or the management is pushing hard on the e-com, how they can make it more sustainable, right? So I'll come to the slides, what are the challenges in e-com and how this we can further cover up with the help of B2C business model. So see how the market is asking, I mean how the consumer demands are there, in sync to that the partners are buying the inventory. If you see the chart on the left hand side, right, so there are 4 kind of merchandise which is offered through the e-com portals. One is your seasonal merchandise, I'll come to that. The other one is core, then OSM, which is old season merchandise, then the SMUs, which are made exclusively for the e-com portals. So now if you see, there are 4 set of merchandise. Seasonal, as we all know, we might know that seasonal merchandise are those which are new to the season. For example, there are 2 seasons in retail for any brand. One would be your SS, the other one would be AW. So SS means spring, summer, AW means autumn, winter, as we all know, right? So there are 2 seasons, and season merchandise contribute around 65% plus in retail stores. When the demand or say the portals just take only 22% of the overall shell of that merchandise from the seasonal merchandise. Because seasonal merchandise are those merchandise which sells at full price, which has a higher potential of selling at the full price because the consumer demand for those set of merchandise during that particular season is very high, you know. So likewise, core are those set of merchandise which are there from the brand side throughout the year. Core is just like Virat Kohli going out and coming and batting again. You know, if you keep on replenishing your fast sellers or the core merchandise, your business has a potential to further scale up. So in retail, the core merchandise in terms of inventory mix, it's around 24%, wherein from the e-com side, it's around 34%. Now the next is OSM merchandise. If you go to stores, generally very few stores would be carrying the old merchandise. I'm not talking about those concepts which is discounted and the fresh. I'm talking about the exclusive stores which are only catering the fresh merchandise. So in those set of stores, only 10% of the merchandise on an average are the OSM merchandise, which is the old season merchandise, which would be on discount on a very rare days, right? Except the EOSS. So these merchandise would be on, but these set of merchandise OSM at ecom would be around 24% of the mix. The last one is SMUs. SMUs are those set of merchandise which are made exclusively for ecom, wherein the brand make good margins because ecom demands for the higher margin from them. So these set of merchandise are those set of merchandise wherein the perceived value of the brand is not matched. A brand intentionally keep the high MRPs because of the high demand from the consumers on the discount front. So SMUs, though it's not available in the retail stores, but it's around 20% of the inventory mix at the ecom portals. Right? Any question here? Cool. So next is the full price and discount mix. So this chart shows that what is the sales in terms of discounting from the set of merchandise what we offer at the ecom. So there are four kind of, it is segregated into four buckets. One is full price, the full price merchandise as we all know, then the bucket up to 30% off, then 31 to 50 and 50 plus percentage. So if you see in retail stores, 48% of the merchandise sells at full price, where in ecom it's just 12%. As we discussed earlier, there are two models in ecom, one is B2B and one is B2C. So B2B, wherein the portals buy the stock, they hardly sell the merchandise at full price. If you talk with the portals, right, their 1 or 2% contribution would be from the full price. Why it is showing as 12%? Because the help of B2C business model, wherein the brand sells the merchandise through the portal by its own, APIs and all this. So that's a big difference, because I'll come to that also, why the B2B business is not able to sell on the full price merchandise, right? So likewise, up to 30% discounted merchandise, retail is around 22, wherein ecom is around 24. This is on the good side that ecom is selling on the lower consumer discount. But again, if you see the other two charts, other two segregation, 31% plus, retail is just 30% of the sales from these set of merchandise, wherein ecom is heavily dependent on this. So 64% of the merchandise comes from this. So to make any business sustainable, the business has to make money, right? From this B2B business, what brands are operating, though it's a profitable business from the brand side, but if you see end-to-end business, it's not that sustainable. Because all these B2B players, like the top players like Amazon and all this, they buy the merchandise and they sell on the high consumer discount. They want to attract the consumers. That's how they are shelling out the money from this. By this, they lose money, and from the other set of brands which are lower on the market, they make money from that. But end-to-end business is not making money. So B2C is the business model wherein the business would make money. Like in conventional retail, if the franchisee is not making money for the brand, the franchisee won't invest, right? Likewise, if the large format doors is not making money for the brand, they won't invest. But in B2B, this model is not there. Because all these portals are fighting, they want to get the market share, and this is how the brand is getting advantage and the end consumers are getting advantage. But portals are not making money. So B2C is a business model wherein the discounts, the product offering, everything would be improvised, right? And this is already started in the last 3 years. And this is the business model which is a longer way to go. And this is the business model where we foresee as a digital retail. Like how retail operates, right? The constant push is on the full price merchandise, the quality of work, consumer engagement programs and all this, right product assortment. So these all things are not yet that much equipped in the online space. But B2C is the business model, what we are talking about, that marketplace business model, wherein the brands operate the inventory, discounting, product assortment by its own. This will help us to take a B2C business model as the next digital retail, kind of, So as we all mentioned, so 70% of the business at retail comes from the discounts up to 30%, wherein e-com is just 36%. Likewise, B2C is the survivor business model for the online space in coming years. And that would also safeguard the brand, because ultimately if brands are sold on the higher discounts, it's affecting the brand image also. So next is on the conventional retail, this is retail growth flywheel. So retail is a very promising channel for any brand. So retail is a channel like it's a pride channel for any brand. You know, if your retail is successful, your business is successful. Likewise, in the brands, in the set of brands where we are operating, which are the global brands, you know, having a good market share and all this. I'm not talking about the D2C brands which are new to the market, but I'm talking about the traditional conventional brands which have a strong footprint. For them, retail is the key business model, you know. And what drives the retail as a key business model, what inputs and what we take away from the key business model are the four pillars. One is the strong consumer shopping experience. With the help of retail, we give consumers a very strong shopping experience, you know. Then the second one is consumer engagement programs. Like we spend a lot of money on the marketing, ATL, BTL, and other push notification, emailers, Instagram post, and all this. So this helps connect consumers with the brand. There is a perfect example, you know, Levi's and Nike. We all know these two brands are the global brands, very old brands in the country. You know, in '96, Levi's was $7.2 billion brand. How much? 7.2. And Nike was 4.6. Nike used to see Levi's that time that we want to become like a Levi's. Nike spent a lot of money on the retail stores. You know, they connected to the consumers from then onwards. Levi's, on the other side, since it was a very old brand, they didn't invest in on the retail stores. For them, the biggest model was like the large format doors like JC's, Penny's, and all this, you know. So for them, how big you could be, but you cannot be more than 1 or 2% of the business. So this is how the brand footprint become very strong for Nike, because they invested on the retail stores, wherein through retail stores, it was a B2C kind of business model, wherein they could connect to the consumers and offer a better consumer experience. On the other hand, Levi's was just like giving the merchandise to the, you know, large format doors like lifestyle shoppers in India and shelling out the business from them. So in that way, the consumer base was becoming stronger for the lifestyle and shoppers, not for the Levi's. Right? So what happened that eventually today Nike is $40 billion brand and Levi's from 7.2 96. This is the case study which a global CEO of Levi's always comes to India and he always speak about this, you know. And today Levi's is just $6 billion. They lost the track because they never connected with the consumers. You know, they never offered that shopping experience to the consumers. But in last 5 years, if you have noticed, Levi's is investing a lot of money in retail. This is not coming from India. India was largely on the retail only, but I'm talking about the global standards of Levi's. So Levi's retail was just 25% of the business of Levi's global. Global, when I say, it means the Levi's North America and the South America, which contributes 48 to 52% for any brand, you know. So in that space, the retail was just 25% of the business. Today, they are banging very hard on retail, and that's how they are getting connected to consumers, and Levi's is offering a right set of products, right set of, you know, consumer experience at the global level. So brand has taken a pickup, you know, last 3-4 years. So likewise, in retail, consumers stick to the brands and become brand loyal, you know. That's how the case for the most of the brands, and which results in the higher sales and better business. So if you make money, you spend money. So that's how the brands get involved in the retail front, unlike the current stage of e-com. So as we mentioned, retail is the pride for any channel, right? For any brand, helps in building the aspirational value of the brand, and likewise. Most important, it results in emotional connect with the brands. The consumer connect with the brand on the emotional front, you know. So now what we are talking about is B2C model, right, of retail plus conventional retail. If we marry both, this would become as a digital retail. So B2C business model is one model which is running. And if we marry this with the conventional retail, the expertise of conventional retail, if we marry both this would become a next, digital retail, and this would be a phenomenon in the industry kind of. And that's what, as a brand, we are looking at. So today, if you all know, e-com is more of a transactional business, right? Consumers are not that connected with the brand. You know, they just see what are the discounts, you know, more of the consumers, 80% of the consumers are like that. But if we invest more on this, the right product assortment, which will come to next slide, what levers are required to bring that, you know, to marry all this, to marry these two channels. So that would eventually result in moving from a transactional business model to a emotional buying behavior. So if we could do this, this would be a next evolution in the industry, and we foresee as a digital retail kind of. So these are the 4 pillars, you know. when we say we marry both, so two key advantages of the e-com are the technology. You know, with the new APIs coming up like Incurve, eCommerce and all this, these are helping the brand in a big way because a unified inventory exposed to all the partners in one go, the discount parities are maintained. Earlier, with B2B business model, the discounts parity was not maintained, but with this technology coming in, discount parities would be maintained, which would further strengthen the brand, presence. Then consumer service, the second key pillar of e-commerce, B2C business model, ease of returns, which was not there in offline stores or retail, right? And the 24/7 consumer support, which was not in the offline stores. So these two key components of e-com, right? If we marry this, the other two key components of retail, right? Like consumer engagement programs, which are so strong in retail because are the conventional business model of, of retailing in India for the brands, and the better product assortment. Like the previous slide, what we saw that in e-com, it was more of a discounted merchandise being pumped in. If we have the right product assortment, what we do for the retail stores, right? So two strengths of the B2C model or say the e-com and two strengths of conventional retail. If we marry these, this would become as a next digital retail format for any brand. And this is what brands are looking at, to scale up their business in from the online space kind of. So this is all from my side. Yeah.
Well, thank
Any
you,
question?
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Saurabh, for double-clicking on digital retail and kind of demystifying it for us. Obviously, the focus is on building and maintaining brand equity in today's world. So that's a fantastic start to the day. Please give a warm round of applause to Saurabh.
Thank you.